The NBA has a real problem on their hands: officiating. Over the last few days and weeks leading up to the All-Star break, we've seen some of the worst officiating the game has ever seen. So today, I want to take a deep dive on some of the most bizarre calls and ejections as of late, and I also want to give my input on how I think the NBA can fix this problem. If you do end up enjoying this video, it'd be much appreciated if you could leave a like and click the subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. But with that out of the way, let's get into the video. First, I want to start off by going over two very similar ejections that happened within the last few weeks. The first one is having to do with JJ Redick against the Boston Celtics. In the middle of a big run which later led to the Pelicans completing one of the bigger comebacks of the season thus far, JJ Redick was called for an offensive foul. After he committed the foul, he went to pass the ball to the referee who made the call, but put a little backspin on it. Just watch.
Neesmith, going to say good defense, got a hand up, but drew the foul, and JJ Redick has just been tossed. Josh Tibbett is...
Referee Josh Tibbett would end up giving JJ his second tech of the game and ended up tossing him, for giving him the ball. That's not it though. A little over a week later, Devin Booker would end up getting ejected for doing the exact same thing against the Lakers.
I think Monty Williams still wants an explanation. Maybe this is where the first one comes. I don't know. Yeah, that's exactly.
At least with Booker, he was running his mouth all night and chirping with KCP throughout the game, but giving him a tech for this is absurd. Now I want to move on to what happened to Montrezl Harrell the night after Booker got ejected.
On its way, the soft touch for the big guy.
Do I even have to explain what's wrong with this? Now let's get into a whole nother portion of bad officiating, and this is about offensive players jumping in defensive players but getting calls in their favor. To start this segment off, I want to show you an offensive foul that occurred a few nights ago.
I'm not saying that he wasn't going to land in his space, but right there, Steph is jumping into him.
Now that you've watched that, how would you feel if I told you Dennis Schroeder was actually the one that got called for a foul in this situation? Because that's nowhere near what a defensive foul is. This should be called as and is an offensive foul. This is not a natural shot. He's jumping forward and initiating contact with the defender. But what Steph is doing here isn't the problem. The problem is the refs. I don't see why an offensive player wouldn't do something like this when the opportunity is presented. Unless the NBA steps in, offensive players are going to keep doing this as long as the refs allow it. So this is where I want to start going over where I think the NBA can fix this whole problem, or at least try to fix it. First of all, the obvious. Force officials to start calling offensive fouls when offensive players jump into defenders. But for this to happen, the biggest change needs to happen, and that is for the NBA to start holding the referees accountable just like they do the players. Whether that is a form of suspension, fines, or potential firing. They have to start holding officials to the same standards as they do players. I also think there should be a change to the specific rule itself. I think they need to rework the system based around coaches' challenges. I believe that both teams should get at least one challenge per half, and that once a coach uses a challenge and is successful on his last attempt, he should get it back. I also think you should still be able to use your one challenge even if you've run out of timeouts. Too many games have been decided on terrible calls over the past 2 seasons since the team has no timeouts and can't challenge. Here's an example.
Lillard splits the D, drives, and looks like it should have been a goaltend. It should have.
In this clip, Gobert very obviously commits a goaltend, but the refs turn a blind eye and Portland can't challenge since they don't have any timeouts and end up dropping a game in a very tight playoff race. That's it though. There's much more to rant about officiating, but it'd be too much for one video. Let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are on the officiating as of late and what you thought of the video. I also ask again that if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. Lastly, I do plan on posting more NBA related content on this channel, so if you are interested in that, I definitely suggest subscribing. Anyways, with all of that out of the way, I'll see you on the next one.
It's getting fucking ridiculous, KK. That this is what's happening. You know what I mean? We have a whole second half of the season to go and get ready for, but like I'm sick of it. To be honest with you, we all are. You know, and I think this is something that just it eats me. It eats at me, man. And it's I don't y'all know what it is. We all know what it is, but it's really getting out of hand. It's really, really, really getting out of hand. And the league needs to do something about this.